Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Klaus, and you are listening to the Klaus to the Heart podcast, the flagship show of the PFC Podcast Network, powered by Anchor.fm. Certainly appreciate you tuning in this week, and we're going to do something a little bit outside the box here. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, pardon me, how this is going to go. I am trying something new. Um, Full disclosure, and anybody that knows me on any personal realm, you know that when things aren't necessarily going my way or there's a degree of ill feelings, like I will do everything I can to try to channel that energy into something more positive, more productive, more entertaining. And I have coming into the studio this week, like I have a show in the can that was recorded a few weeks back, and like it's just sitting there waiting to be dropped when the time was right. And like in my mind, I guess I had it in my mind that this was the week that it was going to drop. Um, Knowing full well it was going to raise a lot of eyebrows, it was going to cause a lot of controversy, um, it was going to get people talking. But I didn't feel like that this was the right week at the 11th hour. And I realized I had to get something on here to have new content in the designated and advertised time slot. Because full disclosure, this is getting recorded like 5.5 hours before it drops. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of wiggle room in terms of editing here. And I don't have a topic. Um, I've attempted this particular recording like 9 times. And I still can't get it right. You know, I had checked my email today, and a longtime listener of the show, Mark, sent me a very nice email. Mark, we appreciate you tuning in, man. Really appreciate that. And I'm going to paraphrase Mark's email, but he had listened to the Revelations Part 1 episode where I had discussed what went into and the thought process of the suspension of operations for the Michigan Wrestling Organization. And apparently he got a kick out of the tone and the delivery of kind of a rant that I had gone on during the latter part of that particular episode. And he's relayed an idea. He's like, I would have loved to have seen what that looked like. Maybe you could start filming your recording sessions and then upload them to your YouTube channel. And I thought, well, that's something I kind of kicked around with Jim Brigette over at Tea Time that drops on Thursdays here on the PFC Podcast Network. And kind of tongue in cheek, but like I was kind of serious about it. But I never gave it another thought. Certainly not in this realm, not on this show. But then I thought, why the hell not? For some of you, you may be listening to this, and one of two things is going to happen. Or I guess one of three things. Either you're just going to listen to the audio, which is fine. It's what it's there for. It's a podcast. That's the initial, form of presentation. It's what it's all about. Podcast network. Podcast. Then I thought, I haven't done anything with the YouTube channel in quite some time. So what if I uploaded this to YouTube? So the other parts are you are going to listen to this whole show, and if it's something that registers with you and you want to see what that would have looked like at the time of the recording, well, it'll be there available for you. or you're listening to this right now and you are hitting the stop button right now and you're going to plop your ass in front of YouTube at the first opportunity you get just to then listen and watch and see what all goes on. Because as you can tell, if you are watching this, if this does indeed get uploaded, hell, I don't know if I'm going to upload this yet or not. I guess it all depends on where we go with this. Because again, no topic. I'm just going to vent. I'm going to rant. I got shit on my mind. And I try to come on here each and every week and be positive and look at the silver lining. And listen, that's how I go through my life. That's not a gimmick. That's not just something I do on the show. Like I actively every single day I try to find the silver lining in life. Truth of the matter is I have bad days. Truth of the matter is I have a lot of days where I have a lot of ill feelings. But it's nothing that I can't overcome. It's nothing that I can't deal with. No matter how many layers it is, no matter what it affects, no matter how I feel about things, like nothing is too much. I just got to figure out how to tackle it. So yeah, we may do this as, an occasional video thing. For some of you, this may be the first time you actually see what I look like. Hi, this is me. For whatever reason, people get a degree of entertainment satisfaction when I go off on promos, rants. I'm not really sure if it's my delivery. I'm not sure if it's the words I use. I'm not sure what it is. And even though every week I look for topics that are inspiring, that are uplifting, that are motivational, there are times where like I will be talking about something under that umbrella, but on the inside I'm feeling like absolute crap. Dealing with a lot of inner turmoil. I've been doing this particular show, for over 2 years now. We're in season 3. So I have gone through a number of different emotions. Some I have been very vocal about, some I have not. Some I have kept very guarded, close to the chest, because it just hasn't been the time or place to relay that kind of information. Even though there's a part of it that people are focusing exclusively on what the title of the shows are. And if they think that it's going to be the thing that they are waiting for, that's when they're going to download, or that's when they're going to listen, or that's when they're going to watch. Because everybody loves controversy. Everybody likes to get the scoop. Everybody likes to be that one that just furthers the shit cloud that, that's what people thrive in for some reason. Those who seek out and get enjoyment out of controversy, turmoil, and chaos in my opinion, you've got some fucked up wiring going on. Especially when that kind of behavior is directed towards another individual in an effort to break their spirit, in order to derail them from their lines of happiness or where they want to go in their life, to the point to where that individual starts to second guess their decisions on trying to get to a better life. Because how many times have you heard me come in on the air here on this very show and say, we've got one life to live. One life to live. What the fuck are we going to do with it? Because some of you live like you have unlimited time. Like nothing will ever happen. You've got all the time in the world. Other ones, polar opposite. There are people that are living their lives like it's their last day to live. And they're going to do everything that they ever wanted to. Carefree. That section in the middle that gets a little dicey from time to time. Because those individuals who thrive and get off and get some sort of sick satisfaction on causing chaos and controversy and turmoil in another person's life, to the point to where, it makes it seem like that other individual on the receiving end, like they're not worth anything. People like that, in my opinion, just really suck. Fundamentally, just serves absolutely no fucking positive purpose. And your being is a waste of oxygen. It's a waste of a lot of resources. Along those lines, you get those individuals who are on the receiving end of any kind of ill feelings, abuse, or anything under the sun, and they start to question their self-worth. This is a huge thing for me. This is what triggers me. You know why it triggers me? Because I've spent the majority of my life, I have questioned my self-worth. I have questioned who and what I am and whether it was good enough for everybody else. To the point to where you start finding yourself, you are living your life for somebody or something else. And we forget who and what we are. We forget what and who we want to be. And we just kind of settle into this rut of fuckery is what it is. You're stuck in one place. Meanwhile, you're just getting hammered and hammered and hammered with all this negativity. Physical, emotional, psychological abuse. And it's easy, I get it. It's easier to just throw your hands up and say, fuck it, I can't deal with it. It's too much. This is my lot in life. No. Absolutely fucking not. Is that your lot in life? Here's the thing, man. Every single person has at least one person that believes in them, that believes in what they can be. Those are their opinions, their feelings. Those are the ones people should focus on if they're questioning or they're not acknowledging their own self-worth. Because we all make mistakes, man. We all go through, I mean, we nobody goes through life unscathed. And some people make more mistakes than others. But the fact is, if you can learn from your mistakes and realize what not to do next time, then it's a lesson. It's a lesson that you can carry forward. And there may be an extended period of time where you may feel like you were not your best self, that you did a bunch of horrible, bad things. You said horrible and bad, things to people. You've hurt people. You've done this. You've done that. Okay, fine. Fuck it. It's done. It's done and over with. It's in the past. There's not a goddamn thing you're going to do about it in order to change it. There is no time machine to go back in time to redo it. The fact is that those pieces of your life, those points of your life where you felt like you may have done or said or whatever that was horrible or bad or whatever you tag on that was then. This is now. And each and every day we have an opportunity to start with a fresh, clean slate. Each and every day is your first blessing and first privilege of the day. Not just for you, but for the ones in your life who enjoy you, who cherish you, who love you, who you are the center of their world. That's the opinions that should matter. And those are the opinions that should pick you up out of a slump whenever you feel like you can't pick yourself up. There's absolutely nothing fucking wrong with accepting help. There is absolutely nothing wrong with acknowledging what a good person you truly are in your heart of hearts. Now, I realize that there are people that walk among us that are just the absolute scum of the earth. But the more attention they get, the worse they're going to be. And again, I realize that situations are individualized. And I realize that there are some people that are more personally ingrained into a conflict than others. But that does not mean that negative side of the conflict has the right to control who and what you are and what you're going to be, where you want to be, and with who you want to be. You've got to focus on the truly positive things in your life. And like for me, listen, you want to go in the woods? Let's go in the woods. I'll make this son of a bitch look like an episode of the Blair Witch fucking Project. Fact of the matter is I've made no bones about the fact I have alluded to the fact that I am dealing with a number of different challenging things, life-altering things. Those who follow me on social media are picking it up or picking up on it. Other ones, there's questions. What's going on? What's happening? I'm not gonna put my shit out there just for you to run with it and add your own spin, add your own narrative as if you have a fucking clue as to what's happening when you clearly do not, because number one, you couldn't tie my shoes, and number two, you don't see things through my eyes. So go ahead and spin your little bullshit narrative, because when it comes back around, and it always does, make no mistake about it, it always comes back around. It makes me look at you like you are a fucking idiot. Because, well, you are. What I'm going through, what I'm doing, what I'm dealing with is truly none of anybody else's goddamn business. Other than the ones who it affects directly. That's the key word. You can have an opinion. You can have your feelings. You can have your thoughts and concerns and all that about it. No one says you can't. The exception that I take is when you are presenting my case or my stance or my thoughts as your own, because as if you have a clue as to what's happening. And unless you are one of less than a handful of people, you have no clue. You have ideas, but you don't have facts. Do you think I'm going to let anybody else's bullshit dictate to me who and what I'm going to be from here on out? Absolutely not. And it took me a long time to get to that point. And it could have been very easy on this journey for me to say, this is too much. It's too much for me. I can't deal with it. To where I just throw my hands up in the air and say, piss on it. I'm going to go back to what I know. If that could have I could have. That thought has never entered my mind. You know why? Because I know where I want to be. I know who I want to be. I know what I want to be. And it may not check everybody else's boxes. Here's the news flash. I don't need your fucking approval. I don't need your approval to justify to me whether I'm living the life that I want to live. Nor should you allow other people to dictate to you what kind of life you should live. You know what makes you happy. You know who makes you happy. You know what kind of person you want to be ideally. And it's up to you to get there. And even the haters, you hear the saying all the time, haters are going to hate. Haters are going to hate. Yeah. But here's the thing. For me, it just doesn't matter. You're going to hate me regardless. So why in the blue fuck am I going to waste another moment of my time worrying about what kind of bullshit you're spewing or what kind of bullshit you're trying to bring to my life? I've got somebody that means the absolute world to me in my life. And there is not an aspect of my everyday life to where she is not represented in some way or another. I sit here in the studio, and every time you see me looking off on here, it's one of the several pictures I've got looking at me while I'm doing this. My phone, pictures. I mean, there's not an aspect of my life that where she's not represented in some way, shape, or form. And she is a driving force into my journey to become the absolute best version of myself. An inspiration, if you will. Now, when we care about somebody, when somebody means the world to us, we want to make sure that they are as happy as they can possibly be. We want to make sure that they are provided for, that they are taken care of. But it's not just monetarily, it's not just in a physical form, it is just as important emotionally, psychologically. When that individual is challenged by an overall negative entity or individual that does everything that they possibly can to dictate somebody else's life for the worse, that is a prime example of what you don't want to be around. And I can understand wholeheartedly how much easier it is to be, I'm just going to take it. Well, fuck that. That is no life to live. Not when there are other people in your life or another individual in your life that in their world you hung the moon. Lean on that person. Lean on those people who see you for the absolute wonderful person that you truly are. That see you for who and what you are struggling and fighting to become. And it is inspiring to see. Because I'll tell you what, nothing triggers me worse at this point than than to see somebody that I care about, somebody that means, well, in this case, everything, being treated anything less than what she deserves, or what he deserves, or what they deserve. Life throws us challenges to test our resolve. Life throws us challenges that are going to push us to the brink. But I also feel like that those are the times that people have to dig down a little bit deeper into their hearts, minds, and souls and draw from a strength they didn't even know existed. But it's there. So instead of proverbially speaking, allowing life to just keep knocking you down to the point to where it feels like you can't get up, you can't stand back up, you can't take a breath, you can't lift the world off your shoulders. This is where you got to go down into those reserves and you got to draw from that strength. Where does that strength come from? Your goal, your significant other, whatever, your kids, whatever you draw the most amount of inspiration from and power from, and that one part of your life that brings you absolute joy, happiness, love, everything that you do love about life. That's the time that you got to lean on that. That's the time you got to draw from that and be damned to this other bullshit that's going on. Because this other bullshit that's going on, by and large, like there's ways to deal with just about everything. There is. Sometimes it gets a little messy, but sometimes I mean you got to get through the mud. It's not always going to be smooth sailing. You're going to go through rocky waters from time to time. You need to draw on those people that believe in you. Lean on them. They're there for a reason. Because they see shit in you that you may not see in your darkest hour. They see the strength that you have when you feel like you don't have it. They see what you are trying to do when no one else seemingly recognizes. That's your cheerleader. That's the one you need to lean on. Because when you feel like you can't stand up, that individual or that entity is going to be the one that picks you up until you get your goddamn feet back underneath you. And what it boils down to is that all these negative influences and entities, they're trying to make you question who you are. This is the time where you need to draw from that power, draw from that inspiration, stand up, and remind them just who the fuck you are. Attitude goes a long way. Mindset goes a long way. You will encounter days in your life to where you feel like you mean nothing. You would be wrong. There are days that you may encounter that you feel like the world would be better without you. You are mistaken. There are going to be days where these insurmountable odds, or though they seem, are going to completely derail you. It doesn't have to. Rechannel the energy. rechannel all of that negativity into your tackling fuel. Stand back up, look at the seemingly insurmountable odds, and tell it hits like a bitch. Each and every one of us brings something unique to the proverbial table. Each and every one of us has something that no one else does. And it's oftentimes your greatest asset, and you just don't recognize it. And even when people do bring it up to you, you quickly dismiss it. Knock it the fuck off. If they're saying it, and if it's coming from somebody that you legitimately trust, that you know, that you care about, that, by and large hasn't steered you wrong, they're not saying that just for the sake of saying it. They're saying it because that's how they feel about you. I understand how difficult change can be because I've gone through various levels of it over the last while. And under no circumstances have I ever questioned whether or not I've made the right decisions. Because anybody that knows me knows how calculated I am, and everybody that knows me knows that I put a lot of thought into shit before I do something like that. Like, I have broken it down in every way I possibly can. Like, there is no room for error. There is no, and that's just how it is. I've thought about it, I've processed it, I've digested it, I've broken it down, I've thought about it again, ran the numbers, made the list, all of the things that go into it, and this is what I've come up with. And by the time I go through all of that, I'm by and large at peace with my decision. I've made the right decision. Even though sometimes it sucks and sometimes it's hard, and there's a lot of scary shit that can go on along with it. But I mean, if I'm going to live the life that I want, I'm going to have to deal with some scary shit. I'm going to have to go through the storm clouds. I'm going to have to endure, different challenges, obstacles, and roadblocks to get to my promised land. And the one that's there waiting for me. You want controversy? I'll give you controversy. I'm going through a divorce. And I mean, on a lot of different levels, there is no more. I mean, you want to talk about life changing shit? That's right near the top of the list, if not number one. And as much as it sucks on a lot of levels, it is one of those things that it happens. And I'll be straight up with you. It was my decision. It was my call. It was my actions. And I know it hurt a lot of people. And I realized it pissed a lot of people off. And I realized that there's a lot of people now that hate me. And you know what? As much as that sucks, I'm okay with that. You know why? Because for once in my life, I'm doing something for me. I'm not living my life for anybody else. I mean, take my kids out of the equation because obviously that doesn't apply to them. But you understand what I'm saying. I knew going down this road was the one that I needed to go down in order for me to get to the absolute best version of myself. Is that selfish? Maybe. But I I came to the realization that if I am not the best version of myself, I am shit to anybody else. I'm just going through the motions, man. Autopilot. That's no way to live life. I feel like every single person should and deserves to have a life that they are by and large happy with, where the positive feelings and the love and the admiration and all of the stuff that goes into that particular realm outweighs any of the negative shit that goes on that real life will try to hammer and hammer and hammer on you. Because society nowadays, by and large, doesn't want to be happy. Society, our society right now thrives on controversy. Our society right now thrives on drama and turmoil because that's what gets the headlines. That's what sells. And I'm done living my life like that, man. Fact of the matter is I realized that where I was at was not the best version of myself, and I needed to go down this road. And not one day have I regretted that. I've regretted hurting people, but that's what happens with these types of things. It's not to say that all parties involved can't rebound to come to some sort of understanding that even though in the here and now it sucks, it will be looked back upon as this is what had to happen for all parties involved to get to the absolute happiest parts of their lives, the best versions of themselves. Some people will take that as a challenge. Other ones will just wallow around in all of it, all the turmoil and controversy and chaos that I alluded to. It's what it is, man. I realize I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I realize I you know I just I realize who and what I am right now, and I know that doesn't bear well with other people, but to the ones that do, that's what matters. It's like I know I'm on a path to get to where I want to be. I know I'm on a path to be the absolute best version of myself. I feel it every day. Even though that there are days where we are met with challenges and obstacles and things of this nature that by and large cause us some sort of ill feelings. Those storms are temporary because the sun will always rise on the other side of it. It will always shine through. And the rougher the storm, the brighter the sun will shine. You've just got to believe that. And if that means you got to take cover under a proverbial umbrella that another person is offering you, fucking take it. Lean into them. Let them hold you up for a little bit. Let them shield you as best as they can. And then take appropriate actions. Make a plan. Take appropriate actions to ensure that you don't run into something like this again, if at all possible. But no matter what comes your way, if you believe in yourself and you believe in each other, there is absolutely nothing that you cannot overcome. It may test the strength of your relationship or your partnership or your friendship or whatever fits here, but it will also, when you come out on the other side of it, it will be one of those things that strengthens that bond to ensure that you are where you're supposed to be and you are on the path that you are supposed to be on. I know because I'm living it, I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it. I get it. Some of the greatest stories don't have the storybook endings or the storybook format, but it will come to an ending that leads you in your ideal situation, your happy place, where you're supposed to be, your end game, your goal, your whatever fits the narrative here. But it will be the ending that, by and large, results with you being your best version of yourself and with the ones who you mean the most to and who mean the most to you. With that, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, we invite you to check out theclosetotheheart.net. That has our links to our email accounts, or you can find us over on Facebook. Just look for Close to the Heart. Um, this Friday, a quick programming note. This Friday, April the 22nd, beginning at 6 p.m., exclusively on ONTV's Facebook page, the Klaus and Q Show returns. We have very special guest Brian Balth is going to join us. Very much looking forward to that show, bringing Brian on onto the air, and it's always a good time hanging out with Claudel Edwards, Q, as it were. So check that out. We go on the air live this Friday at 6 p.m. Facebook.com/Orion ONTV. And it will be available a couple of days later on their YouTube channel. Until then, take care of yourselves. Be awesome to yourselves and to each other. And we will see you next week right here on the Close to the Heart podcast, the flagship show of the PFC Podcast Network, powered by Anchor.fm.